Hey, vinyl community, it's Trevor back with another Flat Round and Spun, here to do the 2024 vinyl tag. This will be my first time actually doing a vinyl tag. Rob Walker developed these prompts, questions, whatever you'd like to call them, and I've been watching many of my friends doing these, other channels doing this, and it really is opens the curtains of what they dig on. So I think it was a cool set of questions. I think this time I'm actually able to do it. For some reason, I thought last year I wasn't able to do it. There was a couple prompts that I frankly didn't qualify for. Watching many of these videos, some people are just like, yeah, I got nothing, and then they moved on. So I guess I should have done that last year, but here we are, 2024, and all these, a lot of them go for this past year. So speaking of, first question, favorite record purchased in 2023. From what I gather, it was just what you purchased, not that it was actually released, but this was a reissue here in 2023, but it's from 1992. That is the funly titled Origin of the Feces by Typo Negative. Lovely album cover too, huh? This is a live record, it's even less live than Alive from Kiss. What it was, story has it that Peter Steele, the de facto leader of Typo Negative, was not satisfied how their first album was recorded. So basically they re-recorded it and made it sound like it was a concert in a club, and the audience is not having it. They're just yelling shit at them and telling them that they suck and fuck you and all this other stuff. And the stage banter from Peter Steele is absolutely hilarious. So that when they were reissue, I can't even get reissue out of my head or out of my mouth, because I don't know. I should be able to get that out, because it seems like most of my collection is reissues. So anyway, that was my favorite purchase of the year from 2023. Number two, the last record you bought in 2023. Well, my last record happens to be my number one pick. Finally got a physical copy of it. I streamed the hell out of this when it came out in September, and it's a favorite of Glenn Calloway's. If you know this, you know the joke. As I was saying on our live stream with Steve at All the World's a Stage and Marcia P, with my favorite record, or as the saying goes, a Rolling Stone gathers no moss, and a Hackney Diamond collects no dust. So this was the last record I bought in 2023, even though I played the hell out of it in the preceding months. Great record. Can't get enough of it. Let's see, a band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. I am going the same route as my friend Marcia P did, and we're going to do Alice Cooper, Billion Dollar Babies, and Muscle of Love, except for mine actually has a cover on it. Both from 1973. And let's see, a band or singer who released, if you could listen to music from one decade, which decade would you do? This was tough. Being a kid in the 70s, a teenager in the 80s, and in my 20s without a family, so, I was basically an extended teenager in the 90s. I mean, every decade has its major explosion with each, but I'll have to go with the philosophy that Steve said, that, when you're a teenager around 13, 14, that's when you really grasp on the music. So I'm going to have to go with the 80s. Within that period, I still have leftovers from Black Sabbath, my favorite band. Though, that being said, my favorite era of Black Sabbath is the Dio era, which is in the 80s. I get Iron Maiden. I get two of my favorite Judas Priest records. I get the whole thrash movement. I get the beginnings of the industrial movement. And a lot of the New York hardcore, the California hardcore scene. And frankly, yeah, even from my home area, the Detroit hardcore scene, which was way, way smaller than the other two. So I'm going to have to go with the 80s. So let's see. Show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. This one took some research because I'm going through the list of bands and artists, and I came up with nothing. But thanks to Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll, he tipped me off to at least a member of this band, which I do have a couple of records by him, and that is Billy Duffy from The Cult. And this is, as you can see, Sonic Temple from 1989. Great, great, fantastic record. I still need to get Electric. What I like about Love, Electric, and this is, even though it's the same band, they all have a different sound to them. So this was like their big arena rock album, and it is so good. So Billy Duffy from The Cult. Let's see. Which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? Well, this kind of stems from 2022. I got a good friend. He's from Scotland, lives here, but he's from Scotland. And he and I have a common favorite band because the singer is from a village nearby where he grew up in Scotland. That singer is Bon Scott. So I've been listening to a lot of AC/DC over this past year. Actually, I think all but one of these I purchased this year. Because I just want to get my AC/DC collection going. Now I'm working on the Brian Johnson era. So AC/DC was probably the most played this year on vinyl. On Apple, I couldn't even tell you. Let's see. Show 7 inches. I don't collect a ton of 7 inches, but I do have a small box of them. So I will rapidly go through this. First off, this is the Amino Acids. They're from my hometown of Detroit. They are an instrumental band that if you were to combine Dick Dale, Devo, and Black Sabbath, you would get the Amino Acids. Highly recommend them. This is a kind of a tribute thing. They had 4 different ones for 4 different bands. These are 4 Detroit bands doing 4 Black Flag songs. So on here you got Old Gods doing Depression, Golden Torso doing Thirsty and Miserable, my friends in Hellmouth doing Police Story, and Childbite doing My War, my personal favorite Black Flag song. And speaking of Childbite, this is almost like a full-length record on a double 7-inch. I never really see too many of these. Actually has a gatefold with the lyrics. Really cool artwork by the singer Sean. And I'm not going to pull out the second one, but really cool green splatter there. They even have a custom adapter there with Childbite on there. So yes, more Detroit stuff. Let's see. This one I got as a promo, which some people might want someday. Deftones 7 on blue vinyl. Even has the kind of jukebox style middle there. But yeah, I forget where I got this as a promo, but I think I got it when I was at the record store that I worked at. So Deftones 7. Speaking of more 7 inches of Satanic Panic from Ghost. I got this, and I got a second copy for Grace, and you know, she digs on that too. I believe this is on purple. And this one I got at a show. I was lucky enough to see one of the few shows that SOD, Stormtroopers of Death, did. This is Seasoning the Obese, kind of a parody of Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer. Even the artwork kind of tributes that on yellow vinyl. And I even got that night Billy Milano and Dan Lilker to sign it for me. So SOD. And then finally another promo 7-inch I got. This was back in 95. White Zombie Supercharger Heaven on green vinyl. I got this. They were doing a listening party for Astro Creep 2000. It was at St. Andrews Hall, and they were just handing these out. And yeah, these, I mean, you're not going to retire off it, but these things go for a pretty good chunk of change. So White Zombie. Let's see. Number 8. Who's Coming to Your Party? This one I had to think about because I've heard other people saying, oh, I'd like to get all these people, but do they get along? So I was thinking of people that would get along, and I was thinking, yeah, Lemmy would be cool. Cliff Burton from Metallica would be cool. But then again, I was thinking the possibilities of something actually happening someday. So I'm going to name off some VC members because this could happen. I would love to have this someday. Of course, Steve from All the World's a Stage, one of my best friends in the VC. My other best friend in the VC, Marcia P., Miss Popularity of the 2024 vinyl tag. And Anthony, Gambler 812, super cool guy. And for the 4th, I think I'm going to go with Alex, Beer and Vinyl. We've all 4 of those people I've had been able to have words with, and you know, phone calls or messages and whatnot. So that is going to be my dinner party. Someday it will happen. So since it is music related. So let's see. We lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. Yeah, there were some heavy hitters that passed away last year in 2023. You know, Jeff Beck, Tina Turner, and many others. But one that hit me hardest was back in November, and that was Geordie Walker from the band Killing Joke, their guitarist. That one, I didn't even know if he was sick. Apparently he died of a stroke. So that was kind of out of nowhere. And let's see, I think I got a picture of him somewhere in here. And one of these inserts, yes. Geordie Walker there. Very live, he was just kind of stoic and just standing there and playing away. And there's no way that Killing Joke will go on after his passing, because his sound is so integral to the band. Easily my favorite post-punk band. And they're on the list of bands I truly regret never getting to see live. This is called 25 Gathering. This is basically the soundtrack to a DVD they had out in 2005, and I believe this just came out on vinyl this past year. So, Killing Joke, Geordie Walker, rest in peace, my man. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read this stuff. Imagine you could only listen to one or listen to music for one country. This is tough because I'm a big metal guy, and there's tons of bands from here in America and tons of bands from the UK that I love. Uh, you know, I'm probably going to have to go with the US, not just because I'm from here, but as a teenager, the thrash movement was so huge to me. The hardcore scene was huge to me. But then again, in the 70s, I got the Jay Giles band that I love dearly. You grow up with hearing bands like Boston, which I know is played to death and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there's just super tons of bands that came out from that time. Even in the industrial scene, Ministry, even though they sound English, they're Al Jurgensen is from the Chicago area, or actually from Colorado, I think, early on, but moved to Chicago. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the U.S. Let's see, number 11. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. Well, I named off a couple already. Anthony Gambler 812, super great guy. Wide variety of musical tastes when he shows off his stuff. And just the nicest guy, absolutely nicest guy. Alex from Beer and Vinyl, mentioned him earlier. He was waiting in the wings to do videos. He was definitely in the comment section in the chat in our live streams, and I know he's commented on everyone's videos, and it took a lot of prompting to get him going on doing videos. And once he got going, it was like a floodgate. He was just going, you know, every few days something was popping up. So I'm really, really happy to see him flourishing here in the vinyl community. And thirdly, I'm going to go with MGK Boston, Mike. I discovered him earlier this year. Again, I mean, obviously out of Boston, has a wide knowledge of music. We're sort of the same age. He's a little bit older than I am, but we do like a lot of the same stuff. Though his palette is a lot wider than mine, some of the stuff he's shown. So, and of course his wife Patty, which someday if I ever make it out east, I'm getting some cheesecake. All right, we're talking about those channels. So I will leave links to all 3 of those channels in the description below if you haven't subscribed to them already. Let's see, show a record you bought when you were a teenager. This, it's a picture disc, because at the time you could either get it on cassette or picture disc. Didn't come on an actual album as far as I remember. But this is Live Undead from Slayer. I bought this in 1985. I was like 14, 15 years old at the time. And this was like my first Slayer purchase. I had heard Show No Mercy and Hell Awaits, but yeah, this is my first purchase of Slayer. And I gather this is also one of those kind of, it's like live in the studio type thing. But it's still cool. This particular pressing does kind of sound like shit because it is a picture disc, but you get the gist of it. And let's see, where are we at here? Number 13, show a funk or soul record. Here's something I noticed with a lot of the Vinyl Tag videos. A lot of the funk soul records I've noticed are from the latest were like in the 80s, and then, you know, around 70s, late 60s. And I haven't really seen a lot of modern soul or funk records. And I am going to go with American Love Call by Duran Jones and the Indications. These guys met in college out east, and they do have a really, really cool sound. It sounds like it could have been recorded in 1971. Very cool album. That and their debut album, self-titled, I highly recommend checking these guys out, Duran Jones and the Indications. Let's see. Number 14, show a record you think everyone has, then show a record that you think nobody has. Full disclosure, I actually bought this today for this video. From what I know, it is the second biggest record ever behind Michael Jackson's Thriller, and that is AC/DC, Back in Black. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. I mean, I got to the point for a long time that I didn't own this because I had heard it so many times. And to be frank, you know, You Shook Me All Night Long, if I never hear it again, it really wouldn't break my heart. But, you know, whatever. The rest of the album's great. My favorite song on here is Let Me Put My Love Into You, is one of the sleaziest guitar riffs on the planet. I mean, it's almost greasy. You have to wash your hands after you listen to that song. So, AC/DC, Back in Black, probably what everyone in the VC has. One that I don't think anyone has in the VC, at least I've never seen it, is, I believe this was from 2005, Detroit band called Speedball. They are just beer swilling, you know, just Detroit rock and roll. A fun fact, apparently at the time, this was Lemmy from Motorhead's favorite band. And actually a friend of mine is in this band, drummer Mike Alonso. This is right before I met him, but actually, no, I'm sorry, I got the date wrong. It's not 2005, it's 1995. It was in the 90s when this came up, but because I knew Mike by 2005. But yeah, this is just a really cool record. Hard to find, but yeah, I remember when the CD came out, and I found this not too long ago on vinyl, and so of course I picked it up. So Speedball, the album is Do Unto Others and Split. So cool stuff. Let's see, number 15, She's Great, a record by a female artist you bought in 2023. I didn't buy a solo artist, so I'm going to go with a female vocalist. And I've talked about this album. It's an EP quite often. The band is called Love Interest. The singer is Jex Blackmore. And it's kind of goth, post-punk, but it's new stuff. So it's a 4-song EP, and I cannot recommend this enough. Love Interest, Mother Wound is the title. Please check it out. And let's see, 16, the favorite video you posted and favorite video that you've seen. My favorite, this, without a doubt, I didn't even have to think about this. My favorite video was back in August when, and with the help of Steve, we did some VCLT with my daughter Grace. Steve got her the live album from Ghost, and in that same video I surprised her with a ticket to go see Ghost that night, and then I showed footage from the concert, and just getting her reaction of her very first rock show. And yeah, it was just a great time, you know, being a dad. I mean, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have gone, because Ghost kind of sailed away from me. But with her interest, it got me interested, and I wanted to, you know, support her in that interest. And yeah, I had a great time because of her. Now, my favorite video of someone else's video, that has been mentioned a couple times. That would easily be Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll, when he was impersonating my good friend Steve from All the World's a Stage, and he did that impersonation spot on. That was awesome, Gary. Everyone I know that saw that was laughing their asses off. That was perfect. So, yes, Gary, great job. Let's see, 17, show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. Well, this is the beginning of the 90s, 91 in particular, August 12th, 1991. And that would be one also probably in the top 10 of best-selling albums. And that is Metallica's self-titled album, mostly known as the Black Album. Tons of singles off this, and they toured off this for about 2.5 years. They played a lot with this record. Huge. I mean, for a lot of us that grew up with Metallica, this was a huge letdown, but I certainly get and respect the importance of this record. And I know for a lot of younger people, this was a big gateway album for them to getting into metal. And then they explored some other genres or subgenres of metal because they started off with this. So Metallica's self-titled album, the Black Album, 1991. And let's see, if you could walk into a cover, look through your collection and choose something. Well, that was kind of tough too, because other ones I've seen, there's like, situations going on. And this one I saw, I'm like, this would just be cool to be able to just strap on a guitar and join the guys on the stage at Hammersmith Odeon there in London. I think it's in London. I know it's in England. But with Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I mean, just look at that stage. That is so cool with the bomber lighting rig. Something I've seen Motorhead many times. They were never able to bring this over to the States as far as I know. And that is just one of the coolest lighting rigs ever. So I believe this is from 81. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that would have been cool just to, step on and join them in for a couple songs. So Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. And let's see, where are we at here? Number 19, it's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with, it plays like a greatest hits. I did a video a few years ago of ranking of the Faith No More albums, and this came in at number 1. That is The Real Thing from 1989. I played this to death on CD. I actually got to meet Roddy Bottom, the keyboardist of Faith No More, and I told him that I wore out the CD, which at the time was like an impossibility because there was no physical, running of it, not like a, record needle. But yeah, I played this album to death, and I know this album every nook and cranny and upside down and backwards. So Real Thing from Faith No More, 1989. And finally, show me an album that was released in 1974. This I got at a flea market with the original artwork, which is now kind of resurfaced, but they had an alternate album cover for a long time. But it is the debut from Judas Priest, Rock-A-Rolla. Very underrated album. I always say the song Run of the Mill is criminally underrated. It is such a great, epic song. And, if you're into early metal or just hard rock, I just recommend this record. It doesn't sound anything like the rest of their catalog, but it's a really, really good record. I do really dig this a whole lot. So Rock-A-Rolla, Judas Priest. So that is it. Made it in a half hour. It's probably my longest video ever. So Rob Walker, thank you so much for doing this again. I look forward to next year doing the Vinyl Tag 2025. And you guys tell me what you think, and hopefully you don't tell me that you were bored by the whole thing. So anyway, we will talk to you soon. Please see us every other Sunday on Steve's channel, All the World's a Stage, where him, Marcia P, and myself, we get together, sometimes with a friend, sometimes just the three of us, and we talk music, and it's a good time, and we like people joining in the chat. So Anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully you had a beverage and something to eat while watching this, because this feels like Godfather length video. So anyway, everyone take care, and we'll see ya.